Before the Beatles, before Elvis, before Frank Sinatra, even before Bing Crosby, there was Rudy Vallée, the original teen idol. While his name is not as known as it was during his career, he was a cultural phenomenon of the 1930s. In 1929, he was suddenly launched into popularity, seemingly out of nowhere. But why did this happen? Let's find out. Rudy Vallée became a hit on the radio in 1928. That year, he began performing on musical programs regularly with his band, the Connecticut Yankees. After his popularity grew, this meant that listeners could tune in at the specified time to hear Rudy sing them a new or favorite song. In fact, it was only due to radio that Vallée first achieved success. In 1929, Vallée was a tall, slender, 27-year-old handsome young man with wavy blonde hair and blue eyes. While he was undeniably good-looking, observers knew that there was more to it than that. Outside of his looks, he was one of the first singers to sing in the crooning style that had just recently emerged after music began to be recorded electronically rather than acoustically. This crooning style was immensely popular among young women because it wasn't brash like earlier male singers who had to project their voice to record properly in the acoustic era. Crooners sang softly and intimately to their audience, which gave their songs a very romantic feel to them. To a lovelorn young woman, it was as if Vallée, a charming, good-looking young man, was singing gentle love songs directly to her. Vallée's effect on early fans was described in a fan letter sent to him in 1928, shortly before his explosion of popularity. Dear Rudy, you saved the day, the long tedious day, you whose heart was bared that we might be uplifted. There is a haunting tenderness of touch in your voice, so like your music. It is astounding how closely allied your voice is to your music. It thrills and soothes. Vallée quickly became a teen idol sensation. His live performances sold out every show, and the screaming and shouting from his female fans was so loud that he had to sing into an acoustic megaphone. And even then, his voice could barely be heard. The megaphone, however, would become his signature accessory. To male listeners, Vallée represented the new trend of masculinity. Being macho and manly was no longer the only thing that mattered. Women liked romantic men, as men in the late 1920s were beginning to find out. So Vallée became a model for other young men to aspire to as women swooned over him. Vallée also represented the new breed of urban young people in general. He was middle class, graduated from Yale, and appeared to be a cultured young man. He even sang songs in languages considered especially romantic at the time, such as French, Italian, and Spanish. He was, in all appearances, sophisticated. Because of this, he was also respectable. He was someone your parents wouldn't discourage you from listening to. There was nothing disreputable about him. He really fit the image of the polite young man next door. He also lived the image he projected. He wasn't prone to excess as others in the entertainment world were, and he was a family man. In this early part of his career, this meant love for his parents, especially his mother. All of these things were still ideal values in the 1920s, even after all of the huge cultural changes that had taken place. Vallée was given numerous nicknames in 1929, some being the Don Juan of the radio and the Clara Bow of the orchestra. By the divine accident or miracle, that is what makes art nearer religion than science. The voice that starts its strange journey at the microphone, hardly more than banal, fills the air at its destination with some sort of beauty, and with that rarest charm of beauty, uniqueness, novelty. His voice is a new sound. Another magazine writer wrote, "Is Rudy singing the reason for his rapid rise? Possibly so. At the microphone, he is truly a romantic figure, faultlessly attired in evening dress. He pours softly into the radio's delicate ear, a stream of mellifluous melody. He appears to be coaxing, pleading, and at the same time adoring the invisible one to whom his song is attuned. The bare microphone seems strangely cold and unresponsive to his serenading." In December 1929, the magazine Radio Review held a contest to see who could best explain the success and popularity of Rudy Vallée. Here's an excerpt from the letter of the man who won first place. Rudy Vallée is reaping the harvest of a seed that is seldom sown this day and age: love. The good-looking little son of a gun really and honestly loves his audience and his art. He loves to please listeners, loves it more than he does his name in the big lights, his mug in the papers. He loved all those unseen women as passionately as a voice can love, long before they begin to purr and to caress him with 2-cent stamps. The second place winner, a woman, had a similar opinion. Women aren't in love with Rudy at all, but with everything he stands for: love and romance. He is the eternal lover, and the little boy at the same time. He loves and is loved copiously by these women, always breathing romance, singing the praises of love, enrapturing his phantom sweetheart with his ardent whisperings, and at the same time yearning for his own dream girl. He makes the women believe that each one is the only one, that she alone is his beloved. In all honesty, Vallée didn't have the greatest voice, at least not great enough to cause such a sensation by itself. As is usually the case for these cultural phenomena, it was just something about Vallée that satisfied certain desires in society at that time. And unlike many teen idol sensations, even people who weren't big fans didn't treat him with disdain. There just wasn't anything to dislike about him. Really, it just seems that Rudy Vallée was one of the lucky few who was just at the right place at the right time. He achieved such massive success just by being who he was, a modest, unassuming, unpretentious singer. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about the original teen idol sensation that was Rudy Vallée. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know in the comments. Well, that's all for now, all you sheiks and gals out there, but stay tuned for more tales from the Jazz Age.